Once upon a time, in a bustling town of Umidike, there lived a man named Obiora. He was a firewood seller, a hard-working but poor man who loved his family deeply. His wife, Nneka, was his strength, a woman with a kind heart and unshakable faith in him. Together they had 7 daughters: Adaeze, Ebele, Ifeoma, Ngozi, Chidinma, Ugochi, and Chiamaka. Though they lived in a small rundown hut, their home was filled with warmth. Nneka sang while cooking, the girls played outside, and Obiora told stories by the fire after a long days in the forest. Despite their struggles, they faced the world together. But the weight of poverty began to crush on Obiora. One day, Obiora carried his firewood to sell as usual. The sun blazed overhead as he called out, "Firewood for sale, strong firewood for cooking." That was when his childhood friend Adigu approached him. Adigu was no longer the boy who played in the dirt with Obiora. He was now a wealthy merchant dressed in fine clothes and dripping with golden jewels. "Obiora," Adigu called out, his voice mocking, "is this what you have become, a common firewood seller?" Obiora tried to smile. "We do what we have to survive, Adigu." Adigu laughed, drawing the attention of the crowd. "Survive? Why I thrive. Look at your rags for clothes, begging for coins. You should come and learn from me how to make real money." The crowd erupted in laughter. Obiora felt his heart sink. He returned home that evening with empty hands and a heavy spirit. At home, Nneka saw the pain in his eyes. She sat beside him and held his hand. "Obiora, don't let their words hurt you. We have what they don't, a family full of love. We will get through this together." Girls, sensing their father's sadness, hugged him tightly. Chiamaka the elder said, "Papa, you are our hero. No matter what anyone says, you are the strongest man we know." And for a while their words gave him strength, but Adigu's laughter echoed in his mind louder than their love. In a few days, Adigu visited Obiora's home. He walked in uninvited, his presence overwhelming their small space. "Obiora," he says, "I can't stand to see you like this. Come with me, let me show you how to become rich." Obiora shook his head. "I am not interested in shortcuts, Adigu. I work hard for my family." Adigu smirked. "Hard work won't feed your children or send them to school, so stop being so stubborn." Nneka interrupted, her voice firm. "We may be poor, but we have our dignity. Obiora doesn't need your kind of help." Adigu's eyes rolled. "Dignity won't keep the rain off your head. Think about my offer, Obiora." Over the next few weeks, Adigu kept visiting. He flaunted his wealth, arriving in a fancy car and bringing expensive gifts for Obiora's daughters. The girls were excited, but Nneka refused to let them accept anything. One evening, Adigu confronted Obiora in private. "You are a fool to let your pride stop you. Do you think anyone respects a man who can't provide for his family? I'm offering you a way out." "And what is it you are offering, Adigu?" Obiora asked, his voice tense. Adigu leaned in. "There is a man, Dike. He has the power to make you wealthy beyond your dreams. All he asks is a small sacrifice." Obiora frowned. "Sacrifice? What kind of sacrifice?" Adigu's smile was sharp. "Blood. Blood from your own family. Watch out for unimaginable wealth." Obiora recoiled. "I would never harm my family. Get out." "Get out," and Adigu left angrily. For weeks, Obiora tried to buy the idea, but Adigu's word lingered. One night, after being mocked in the market again, Obiora sat outside, staring at the stars. Nneka joined him, her voice soft. "Obiora, talk to me. I can see you are struggling. Talk to me, dear." "I am tired, Nneka," he said, his voice breaking. "I'm tired of being nothing, tired of watching our daughters go to bed hungry, tired of people laughing at me, tired of people laughing at us." Nneka held his hand. "We will get through this, we always do." But that night, Obiora made a decision he could never take back. Obiora went to Adigu and agreed to meet Dike. The stranger led him deep into the forest to a shrine where a clay pot sat on the altar. "Pot will bring you wealth," Dike said, his voice cold, "but it demands blood. Are you ready to give your first daughter?" Obiora hesitated. He thought of Adaize's laughter, her innocent eyes. but Adego's mocking voice pushed him forward. Yes, he whispered. Adaeze, the youngest and the most playful, was the light of the family. She had a way of making everyone laugh. Even during hard times, Obiora hesitated for weeks before taking her to the shrine. That night, as she slept soundly in his arms, he whispered, "We will have a better life, my child, I promise." At the shrine, Dike's clay pot glowed ominously as Obiora placed her on the altar. "Close your eyes, it will be over quickly," Dike said. Adaeze stared, her small voice asking, "Papa, what's happening?" When the ritual ended, the shrine filled with silence. Adaeze was gone and the pot glimmered with eerie light. As Obiora walked home, he heard her laughter echo faintly in the wind. The next day, the wet began to pour. Traders came to him with offers and villagers who once mocked him now respected him. But Nneka was inconsolable. Adaeze wouldn't just disappear, she said, pacing. "Obiora, are you hiding something?" "I swear," she ran off. He lied, and his heart ached. 3 months later, Dike returned. "The pot is hungry again," he said simply. Obiora begged for another way. "Please take something else. My cattle, my land, my wealth, my gold." Dike's face hardened. "You agreed to the terms. Break, break, break them and you lose everything, including your life." This time it was Ebele, the quiet and the thoughtful daughter. She loved drawing patterns in the sand and weaving flowers into her mother's hair. Obiora couldn't sleep for nights leading up to her sacrifice. When he finally took her to the shrine, she clung to his arms. "Papa, are we going to pray?" she asked. "Yes, my child," he choked out. As the ritual began, she looked at him with wide, trusting eyes. "I love you, Papa," she said before vanishing into the light. The wealth doubled, but the guilt tripled. At home, Nneka grew more restless. "Ebele wouldn't leave without telling me," she said, her voice breaking. "Our daughters are disappearing, Obiora. What's going on?" "I don't know, Nneka," he replied, unable to meet her gaze. Ifeoma was the most inquisitive of the daughters, always asking questions, asking about the world. She dreamed of becoming a teacher someday. When Dike demanded her life, Obiora almost backed out. "I can't do it anymore," he told Dike. "I have already lost 2 daughters. You can walk away," Dike said coldly, "but the pot will take all your wealth and your family will suffer even more." Cornered, Obiora gave in. That night, he took Ifeoma to the shrine. She noticed his trembling hands and asked, "Papa, are you scared?" His face, yes, he admitted, tears streaming down his eyes. "Don't worry, Papa. Everything will be okay," she said, smiling up at him. Her words haunted him as the ritual ended and as she disappeared. This time, the glow of the pot seems darker and almost sinister. The next 2 sacrifices came quickly as the pot hunger grew insatiable. Ngozi and Chidinma, inseparable as the sisters, were taken within weeks of each other. Ngozi, the strong-willed one, fought back. "Papa, where are you taking me? I don't want to go," she screamed as he dragged her to the shrine. Her cries echoes in the ears long after the ritual was gone. Chidinma, the gentle peacemaker, went quietly, seeing her father's tournament. "It's okay, Papa," she said softly. "You don't have to cry." Each sacrifice left the family more broken. Nneka stopped eating, her health deteriorating. The remaining daughters clung to her, terrified of what might happen next. "Where are my children, Obiora?" Nneka demanded one night, her voice shaking. "Tell me the truth." "They are safe," he lied again. "They are living with my relatives in the city." But the light couldn't mark the emptiness in their home. By the time Dike demanded Ugochi, the once happy family was unrecognizable. Nneka barely spoke to Obiora, and the remaining daughters lived in constant fear. Ugochi, the bold and the fearless one, sensed what was happening. "Papa, you have been taking my sisters to that shrine," she said one night, "and I have seen you." Obiora froze. "You don't understand, Ugochi. I am doing this for us, for a better life without us." She shook back, tears streaming down her eyes. "How could you, Papa?" Her words cut deep. But he couldn't stop. When he brought her to the shrine, she didn't fight or cry. She simply looked at him and said, "You have already lost everything, Papa. You just don't know it yet." Her sacrifice marked the beginning of terror. When Dike demanded Chiamaka, the eldest daughter, Obiora broke down completely. "Please, not her," he begged. "She is all I have left." Dike's response was merciless. "You made a deal, Obiora. The pot must be fed." Chiamaka, wise beyond her years, understood the truth. "It's me, isn't it?" she asked her father. Obiora couldn't speak. "I will go," she said quietly, "but you will have to live with what you have done." Nneka, had, who had been secretly following him, arrived at the shrine just in time to witness the ritual. She screamed, running towards them. "Obiora, stop this madness!" But it was late. The pot glow consumed Chiamaka, leaving Nneka snobbing on the floor. Life unraveled completely after the final sacrifice. With Chiamaka gone, the weight of his action crushed him. He sat alone in the empty shell of the once grand mansion, surrounded by echoes of his daughter's laughter that now felt like haunting reminder of what he had lost. The day after Chiamaka's sacrifice, a storm brewed over the village. The sky turned black and lightning cracked across the heavens. The villagers whispered that the gods were angry. That evening, Dike returned, not as the calm, mysterious man Obiora once knew, but as a terrifying force of destruction. "You have fulfilled the deal," Dike said, his voice echoing like thunder, "but you are no longer useful. The gods have taken their share and now they will take what remains." As Dike vanished, the mansion began to collapse. The wall crumbled as if swallowed by invisible force, and Obiora barely escaped with his life. Outside, he watched as his wealth vanished. The field turned to dust, the cattle fell dead, and the villagers, once avians of his riches, gathered to watch the horror. When the truth about Obiora's sacrifice spread, the villagers turned against him. Mother wails, holding their own children close, fearing he might come for them next. Men who once admired him now spat at his feet. "You sacrificed your own blood for this wealth," shouted one elder. "You are cursed, Obiora. You will never know peace again." They dragged him to the village square, where he was tied to a post and left in the scorching sun. People hurled stones and cursed at him, their anger boiling over. Nneka stood in the crowd, her face ate with grief and disgust. "You took everything from me, Obiora," she said, her voice trembling. "Our daughters, our love, our family, you destroyed it all. I hope the gods give you the punishment you deserve." All the village released him. Obiora was banished from Umudike. He wandered town to town, a shadow of the man he once was. His clothes were torn, his face gaunt, and his eyes hollowed. At night he dreamed of his daughters. In his dream, Adeze would run to him with her doll, Ebele would show him her drawings, and Ifeoma would ask endless questions. But the dreams always ended the same way. The daughter's face turned cold and their voice accusing. "Why, Papa?" they whispered. "Why did you choose gold over us?" Back in Umudike, Nneka found a way to move forward. She left the village with the few possessions she had and settled in another town, where she worked as a seamstress. Through her heart, Though her heart was forever broken, she kept the memory of her daughters alive. She told their story to anyone who could listen, warning them of the danger of greed and the cost of losing sight of what truly matters. "I couldn't save them," she would say, tears in her eyes, "but I can honor them." Nneka became a symbol of strength and resilience, a mother who carried the weight of unimaginable loss but refused to let it destroy her. Years passed and Obiora grew weaker. He became a beggar, sitting by the roadside, begging for scraps from strangers. His once shoulders were hunched, and his voice, once loud with ambition, was now barely a whisper. One rainy night, as he lay under a broken shelter, he heard a voice. It was soft, almost musical. "Papa, come home," he said. He opened his eyes and saw 7 glowing figures standing before him. His daughters. They were radiant, their smiles warm but tinged with sadness. "We forgive you, Papa," Adeze said, "but it's time for you to join us." Tears streamed down Obiora's face as he reached for them. "I am sorry," he whispered. "I am so sorry." When the villagers found him the next morning, he was gone. Some said his body was taken by the gods, while others believed he simply disappeared into the storm. The story of Obiora became a cautionary tale in Umudike and beyond. People told it to their children, warning them about the dangers of greed and the importance of family. The wealth you seek will never replace the love you lost, they would say. Obiora's name was etched in village history, not as a man to admire, but as a man who made the ultimate mistake. He traded love for gold and paid the heaviest price. Thank you, my lovelies, for watching this far. Thank you for staying with me. If you know you really enjoyed the story, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to my growing channel. It will help me grow my channel big, and put a notification so that you get notified whenever I drop a heartwarming story like this one.